Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Welcome aboard, Paul Fleming Sr. from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Texas. Welcome aboard, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome aboard, AVQ from Nueva York, New York. How are my peeps doing? I trust that everybody is doing great today. Okay, let's see. 3 FBI agents' secret security clearance has been revoked over January 6th. Thank you for that info. It's way overdue. Welcome aboard. May Wood says good afternoon to everybody. Folks, if you are on YouTube, please give us that thumbs up now. Please give us that thumbs up now, as well as if you have the will to go ahead and click that join and become a part of our PDR posse here on the internet. Thank you so kindly for estando aquí, for being here. How's everybody doing? Today I want to talk about 3 specific topics. First, we're going to listen to an interview by the NAC, Northeastern something. Why am I spacing out on what it actually stands for? Maybe I should just go ahead and look it up, because this morning I did the same thing. It was like, I can't remember what was the name. It was Northeastern Action Collective. Northeastern Action Collective. We're going to play that. That's the video that we played earlier this morning on the KPFT live show on air. Yes, May, is it Egberto's birthday? Happy birthday, brother. Thank you, sir. Yes, it is my birthday. I'm turning into an old fart, but what can I say? But yeah, it is my birthday today, and I went and had some a breakfast with my daughter and my wife earlier today. Ate a bit too much, so I'm a bit stuffed up, but hey, what the heck? One day out of the week, or one day out of the year is not too bad, or what can I say? Anyhow, let's get busy. I tell you what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and start this interview, and then we'll come back and have a chat with all that you guys want to talk about and so forth. I'm going to let you guys guess my age, and whoever comes closest to it, I tell you what, I think I've got a large t-shirt here. Whoever comes closest to my age, gets a t-shirt. Well, actually, I have to order some. I got to order some, but whoever gets closer to it, just remind me, hey, I won the test. Whoever comes closest to my age. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get busy with the video. So come on, folks. Let's see who can get closest to the number. Bridge MCP says, hey, y'all, happy birthday, Egberto. Muchísimas gracias. Fleming says 56. You're so kind. Eric says 62. I don't like you, Eric. Maywood says 58. Okay. Let's keep going to see what it's going to be. Happy 40th birthday. I love E2247. If I could say who's the person that makes me feel the best, Rodnan says 60. Okay. Shiva Las Vegas. You, I are the same age. Breeze 65. Daniel Ledo 57. All right. Let me just tell you right now, so far we have one winner, but keep on going. Keep on going to guess the age. But I tell you what, no matter what the age turns out to be, I want to be forever young. Lee Grant says, happy B-Day, Egberto Willies. Thank you, Brother Grant. Thank you all. Anyway, let's go ahead and listen to this today, and then we'll continue with all the other pieces of the show. So let's get busy. I am going to start that ahorita mismo, ahora. Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Today, I am honored to have Doris Brown and Alice Liu, two environmental and community activists and advocates with the Northeast Action Collective. So let's get started with what is the Northeast Action Collective, Doris?
The Northeast Action Collective is of bilingual BIPOC community. We got together because we were frustrated. It was only 10 of us that began it back in 2018. We were frustrated with the bureaucracies, with the governesses, because we were still flooded historically. So we got together, and like I said, it was 10 of us then. It's almost 5 years later, because in October we'll be 5 years old, and we have over 75 regular members. We have a lot of collaborators now, so yes. And we're never going to give up our fight for equity and for better structure.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And Alice, let me first just tell you that I am impressed that in a organization like this, we have young people, older folks, and so forth getting involved. What got you involved in this project?
Yeah, so I've been with West Street Recovery and the Northeast Action Collective for almost 3 years now. And I first became involved with climate activism and organizing in college. And I had known about West Street Recovery since Hurricane Harvey. I was aware of their efforts to help folks rebuild after Hurricane Harvey, especially people who were denied from government and other forms of assistance. So I was really inspired by their model for community organizing. And I think you're right that one of the most beautiful parts is how intergenerational we are. I'm 24. I think, Doris, how old are you?
73.
Oh,
so you're getting the two ends of the age spectrum right here.
And I think that is wonderful. So, Doris, tell me exactly. I mean, earlier before we got on air, we're talking about that your concern was about the infrastructure, specifically how it's neglected in BIPOC areas. An example from the document that you sent over. I learned something. I didn't realize that 41% or so of our drainage are open ditches, but 80-something% of said ditches occur in BIPOC areas. In other words, in communities of color, which I think right on the bat tells you something about how infrastructure dollars are actually allocated in this city, and likely this is representative around the entire country. Talk to me, Doris.
Yes, that's because we've been marginalized. We've been redlined. We now live in congested areas that have refineries. And I'm going to say this, we feel as though we're sacrifice zones, because everything that will cut off our lifespan because of the hazards and the climate change and different things like this, we lose 24 years of our lifespan, especially with this particular matter. And the fact that in the 5-mile radius of my home, I have 5 cement batches. We have refineries. We have the largest landfill in the world. At night, they burn, and we have methane gas permeating our air. So we have children that are born with asthma that shouldn't be. I don't know. We have historically just been disinvested, even with us paying drainage fee and everything. We still don't get the upkeep nor the maintenance that other areas get. So
that is the reason that you guys formed this group, claim with the expectation that together going to our city council or other governmental agencies, you will be able to at least get notice. Have you been getting any media attention, let's say, from the major networks in the area, ABC, CBS, NBC, etc.?
Yes, we have, and Channel 26 also. because they are paying attention. We are presenting something, some data and stuff. So we're not only saying this, but we are presenting data. We do research on what we go to City Hall and to the county. We'll be in our way to the state, trying to get some equity. And it does not make any sense that we pay our taxes, we pay our drainage fees, we pay all kinds of taxes, and we still cannot get no relief out here in the Northeast and the Southeast. I mean, it's happening all over to all BIPOC neighborhoods. And it's time for a change. You know, I mean, this has been going on 50, 60 years. How can we never seem to recover from a disaster like everyone else. Before we can recover, it's another one. So it's just compounding on it. It's cascading.
Now, you mentioned something that really hit me earlier when you said you feel like we are being sacrificed. And a lot of people have a tendency to say things like, well, the reason why certain areas don't get the infrastructure that other areas get is maybe the tax base is smaller there. And as opposed to allocating taxes the way it should, meaning in an area, as opposed to, well, if this is a rich area, we give a whole lot of allocation to that rich area. A lot of times that's not done. Now, Alice, how are you approaching, let's say, city council from a demand point of view? What are you demanding of city council? Do you have a list of items that you want them to actually effect now?
Yes, absolutely. So over the past few months, we have gotten together with not just the Northeast Action Collective, but with other community groups and allies across Northeast Houston and across the city. And we've put together 4 demands that we think address a lot of the inequities in our drainage infrastructure system that Doris was talking about. So our demands are to increase the SWAT and local drainage program project funds by $20 million and to make those increases permanent. And this is actually more than doubling the funds for those 2 pots of money. And we've chosen to focus on these 2 pots of money because SWAT allows city councilors to actually implement projects that directly address their constituents' needs. And we're focusing on the local drainage project because—
What is SWAT?
Yes, SWAT is the Stormwater Action Team. So that is a pot of money that is equally divided between city council districts. So we're asking them not only to increase SWAT, but also to increase the local drainage project, because we know that need is not evenly divided between city council districts. So local drainage project allows public works to actually address areas with the most need and areas with the highest social vulnerability. Our other demands are actually to increase funding for public works staff and maintenance. That way, we're increasing their in-house capacity to address the maintenance needs. And finally, we're asking them to make drainage governance more equitable and democratic.
Now, when you say equitable and democratic, earlier I went on a short soapbox where I stated that it seems like wealthier areas get better, let's say, drainage, etc. Is that what? Do you all have that documented, that they actually put more money for drainage in these areas than, let's say, in BIPOC communities? Is that something that's documented? And Doris, do you know that, or?
Well, you can see it. So, I mean, the fact that we're still flooding out here and our drainage dollars are being diverted somewhere else, you can see it anywhere. And I think Alice, did the research team, did they come up with some data on that from the 4 years?
Well, Doris, I think you said it great. When we're talking about these inequities, we know that all levels of government basically are not spending their money to address the areas with the most need. After Hurricane Harvey, I forget the specific numbers, but Northeast Houston has only gotten less than 5 substantial flood mitigation projects, whereas other areas of Houston have gotten 3 to 4 times more. This is something that we see playing out at the city level, at the county level. In 2018, there was a $2.5 billion flood bond. We were the group that was fighting to make sure that equity was actually in that flood bond language. But even once we got the word equity in there, several years later, we found that there was still a 75% shortfall in terms of funding for Halls and Greens bayous, which are the bayous in our areas, whereas wealthier parts of Houston, their projects were almost 100% funded. And at the state level, we have had to file a Title VI because after Hurricane Harvey, there was $4 billion of federal flood mitigation money, and the state gave $0 of that to the city of Houston. And we have successfully filed a Title VI that the HUD is now trying to move to litigation to actually try to redistribute those dollars. So I think it's a great question of how at all levels of government these inequities are stacking up. But I think at the end of the day, Doris said it best, which is we know these inequities exist because when we look at the infrastructure itself and we look at the actual conditions of drainage, and we listen to people who are living in Northeast Houston, we know that they are flooding at a much higher rate than folks in other parts of Houston.
In other words, my eyes are not lying. I know what I see. I know what I see. Well, so let's go into, you gave some points that you gave some asks, or actually not asks, you gave some demands of what you want done, what the North, I forgot the name, North Action. What is the name of the group?
Just call us NOC, the Northeast Action Collective.
That is so much easier than having to remember the long name, right?
Yeah.
That now, NAC, what specifically now that you have these demands, where are you going to go from here? I mean, we are giving you coverage on KPFT and other places to make sure that people know this is occurring. Hopefully, people in your area as well. How do you want, or what do you want done, or what do you need done to ensure that more pressure is applied to the particular politicians? Do you have actionable items that you want activists, journalists, etc., to do? You can start, Doris, and then go ahead, Lou. Go ahead, Alice.
I'll start us off, and then I'll pass it to you, Doris. But this interview is great timing because we are now in the middle of the budget workshop process, and we're also in the middle of the period where city councilors can submit amendments to actually change the budget. Just yesterday, the mayor released his proposed budget, and we know that there has been some increase in funding in drainage investment for this next fiscal year. So we know that in some sense, we're better off in this budget than we were last year, but we're not exactly sure if that money is actually going towards the pots of money that we're asking them to go towards. Over the next 3 weeks, the budget will be finalized and voted on in June 7th. And what we're asking is if folks are interested in giving public comment at City Council, please reach out to us. Our phone number and email are on our website. And the best way to get in contact is through our Instagram, which our handle is just West Street Recovery. Next Tuesday on May 23rd, we will also be having a press conference and rally at City Hall. And if journalists are interested in covering that, that would be fantastic. Please reach out to us. Email alice@weststreetrecovery.org. But I'll pass it to you, Doris. Doris, do you want to talk a little bit about, earlier you mentioned the diversion of the drainage tax and why this is an issue that we care about?
We care about it because we're studying putting into a system that is not putting back to us. Our money is being taken and building up the affluent areas of town. And this started back in 2015, somewhere along there. So imagine the millions of dollars that could have been helping us, could have been helping the infrastructure and the drainage where we wouldn't flood. And over the years, it hasn't got better; it's only got worse. And we're trying to get an amendment on. We need policy change to stop this because I look at it, that's theft. That's fraud.
Now, Doris, let me ask you about that, right? You said that they're collecting taxes from your district, the drainage taxes in your district, and you're saying those taxes, that money that they're collecting is not re-inputted into your neighborhoods, but actually into neighborhoods in other districts. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, and that's happening all over Houston. Every year, the drainage and sewer tax goes up, but it just does not come back to the neighborhoods. Or it doesn't come back to BIPOC neighborhoods in a timely manner, nor equitable. It's definitely not equitable. And I think that needs some institutional accountability and some transparency because this is historical. I mean, this has been going on for years. It's time for it to stop.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking it this way, right, is that there's nothing like documentation. And my question is, can your district document that you are putting out more into that? And not that, I mean, that really shouldn't matter, right? We should go where the flood is, wherever it's flooding should be mitigated. But since you are already putting in from a flood prone area, putting in a whole lot of your tax base for those drainage fees, etc. Am I really understanding that you could probably document that you are not equitably getting back what your own neighborhood, and maybe Alice, you have some numbers on that. Can you actually document that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're talking about the diversion of the drainage tax, this is actually something that's like not necessarily being diverted between districts, but the city is overall not spending the entire pot of money that our drainage tax are funding. So the city is overall diverting money that is being paid for drainage and that is supposed to be being paid on drainage according to the vote of City of Houston residents. And they're spending about $22 million of a year of that money, and they're spending it on other city services instead. So Mayor Turner has said, hey, we can't actually stop diverting this money because what would happen to essential services like police, right? And first of all, that is actively violating a city ordinance, and that is actively violating the public will of Houston residents. But also, we think that those priorities, right, prioritizing police over public infrastructure such as drainage, is not actually reflecting the needs of the city of Houston.
I don't think that could be put any better. I mean, that if you're collecting drainage fee and diverting it to police or otherwise, that is I think that should be legal. It's probably not, but I think it should be, and it is simply wrong. All right, let me ask you, because our time is coming up here. Please tell me. I'm going to start with you now, Alice, and then end with Doris. Please tell me what didn't I ask you that I needed to ask you, and let me know anything that you want to put out there that we need to get out there. And also remember to give us your website, etc. So it'll be in the blog as well, but give us your website so that people can hear it on air.
Yeah, fantastic. I just want to end with speaking a little bit about how difficult it has actually been for us to make any difference at all within the budget process. So the NAC as a group has tried to engage with the city budget for 3 years now. And in the past, when we've tried to engage, we've been told, hey, you're showing up to the wrong workshop. Hey, this is not the right time to speak, or hey, you're too late and that ship has sailed already. So every year we've been getting a little bit better about showing up and being able to apply pressure at the right time and in the right place. But part of our ask is to make the city budget more democratic, because we believe right now, a city's budget should reflect its values and should reflect its priorities. And right now, it doesn't reflect the values of the people. Right now, it reflects the values of the special interests. And when people who care deeply in our communities try to show up and we try to say, hey, drainage infrastructure and flood mitigation is a matter of public health, right? That's a matter of public safety. It's a matter of protecting lives, of protecting homes, right? And protecting entire communities. When we show up and we say that message again and again, year after year, right? We've had over 40 people give public comment every single week at City Council over the past 2 months. And we don't know whether or not that's really going to make a change yet. We'll find out over the next 3 weeks. We'll find out by June 7th. But I just wanted to end that infrastructure should be a site of democracy, and it should be a site of public input. And it should be a place where people are able to express our needs, and those needs are actually met. So that's our hope for the budgeting process this year. And our website is www.weststreetrecovery.org.
Well, let me tell you, having you on board, Alice, with your passion and it's very, very important. And you all will get things done as you activate more people, no doubt about it. Doris, give me a closer.
We never quit. We're not going to quit. We've been fighting this fight, and we're going to continue until we feel like we're no longer that sacrifice zone. We want equity. We want transparency, and we want to stop flooding. I mean, there's only so many times that you can, bounce back. So we're very resilient people out this way. We have to be, in order to have some quality of life. And that's what it's all about, a different quality of life.
Well, let me give a 30-second sermon, and it goes this way. Earlier this week, in one of my shows, somebody said, the government is going to do what the government is going to do. We have no control. That is not true. And you all, Northeast Action Collective, Doris Brown, Alice Liu, you guys disprove what that apathetic young man had to say. And for everybody that's listening to this program right now, I want you guys to stamp those two names in your brains. Two people that decided to go out there and said, nope, it's not about me believing in government. I am the government. We the people. Sometimes it takes a bit more to get things done, but we are going to get it done.
Exactly.
Alice Liu, Doris Brown, it has been my honor to have both of you on Politics Done Right. You guys represent exactly what being citizens is all about. Thank you so kindly for being on the program.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, folks, so there you go. I can't say how impressed I was with those folks, but I am very impressed with what they're doing. So anyhow, Daniel Ado, you hit on something that is important, that opens the door for some explanation. I want to thank you for that. You said, why do BIPOC self-segregate? Seems like a solution would be to integrate into white neighborhoods. The racist city would not dare underfund a majority white neighborhood. Believe it or not, that is a concept that's been out there for a long time. And that, believe it or not, has been a reason for integration a lot as well. In as much as I think that may have been a sarcastic statement, is a statement that many have adopted with integration, all right, because supposedly you would not want to harm a racist system would not want to harm the majority population that they actually support. What I've noted and told folks a lot of time is racism is just a tool. Institutionalized racism is just a tool. It's a tool of the very, very few. Institutionalized racism, the victims are not only BIPOCs, meaning black, indigenous, people of color. It's not only them that are victims, but the white majority is also a victim of institutionalized racism. And the reason why is racism is the tool to take from all, not from some, but from all, because capitalism does not know race. However, it uses a lot of tools to take away and to manipulate for a few. So if you keep that in the back of your head, you understand that by that statement that Daniel Ledo made, it's not a novelty. It is something that's been spoken about many times. Integration saves the minority in a lot of, or it was thought that integration can save the minority because, again, if the schools are integrated, you're not going to screw up that school because XYZ. That is how it's thought. But then Daniel makes another important statement, and I'm glad it gives us a chance to educate ourselves. He says, they keep mixing race with income. So keep saying BIPOC, but they mean poor. Seems kind of racist to speak as if BIPOC and poor are interchangeable. The truth of the matter is, that's a very profound statement. The fact is, however, that BIPOC often means more poverty than not BIPOC because of history, because of redlining, because of all these things. You know, what we have the majority society that likes to do often is to say, oh, look at Oprah Winfrey. Oh, look at Brother Johnson. Look at these exceptions to the BIPOC scenario. It is something that we have to address, and I'm glad that you brought that up. BIPOC doesn't mean poor in the aggregate, but BIPOC many times have the institutional pressures that maintain it as poor. And Alice made it very clear. Let's look at open drainage. 81% of Houston uses open drainage. But, I'm sorry. 41% of Houston uses open drainage. And where are 81% of those open drainage found? In BIPOC communities, because again, these pretty much segregated communities, they get segregated response as far as the support they get from society. I mean, you can see it. As Ms. Brown said, I don't have to do a study on what I can already see. I can drive into Montrose. I can drive into Westville, Houston. I can drive into all these parts of Houston, and I can know exactly where I won't find sidewalks. I know where I will find ditches. I know where I would find dilapidated roads, etc. It's very obvious. So it is important that we understand these concepts. So thank you, Daniel Ledo. That statement that you made, in fact, was important to bring up. So thank you. And in fact, Michael Rudnan says, Daniel Ledo, there is a lot of intersection between poor and minority, which is not to say there's not poor white people, but there are comparably significant larger percentages of minorities who are poor. Trying to figure out what your angle is now, trying to dismiss economic, racial inequalities. I think to some extent that's what he was trying to do, but I think it gives us the opportunity. And by the way, a caller into the show today in the morning gave that same impression that Daniel did. And I think I made some headway, not necessarily with him, but with others, to really mitigate what they're trying to imply. All right, going down. Michael Rodney, Lee Grant, if a systemic problem is affecting one or more groups, why not address the problem as such? The idea that we shouldn't be putting people in boxes when doing so can remedy a problem primarily affecting the people in that box doesn't make any sense unless if you want the problem to continue affecting those people in that box. Bridge MCP is exactly right. And that's why when people say we need to stop practicing identity politics, I say hogwash. We need identity politics. Only women can have abortions, right? Only women can have abortions. And only women go through certain things. That's an identity that needs special treatment. as far as society is today, redlining only occurred to a particular group of people. Mitigating redline requires us to look at that group's identity to solve that problem. There are certain issues with Jewish people, right, that affected Jewish people insularly. We have to address that identity with regards to that as well. We have the LGBTQ folks. They have, and we have to sort of, an LGBTQ person told me, a gay person told me, Egberto, we have to further subdivide because there are a lot of things that are affecting the trans world right now that doesn't really affect the LGBT, the other gay group specifically that we have to address. I am not apt on exactly how I need to speak about that, but it's important. It's important when you take a look at it and do it that way. So, Daniela Doe, thank you for that comment. It gives us a chance to expand on the discussion. Michael Rudnin and Bridge MCP, thank you for opening that box for identity politics as well as others. Lee Grant also brings an interesting point when he says BIPOC, Black and Asian in the same box. These issues with these groups are entirely different. That to some extent is true. It depends on which Asian group we're talking about. There are two classes of Asians in this country. There's one, the high performing Asians in this country that have that have the pedigree because of how they got here, etc. And then there are those who have assimilated into American society and follow the same strife that we have as other minority groups perform. And that is great. You can follow the lines on the two paths that Asians take as well. You can follow the path that Blacks takes. As an example, one of the most successful groups business-wise in America are Nigerians, Black Nigerians. Some of the most successful groups here. And what many would like to do is equate Black Nigerians and say, well, if these Black folks can do that, what happens to these other Black folks here in America when you don't look at the history of how things came about? It is so important for us to be more intellectual in the way we look at issues. What many on the right would like you to do is to be anti-intellectual, to throw everything in a box and give a simple answer. And one of the things that I always say is that we as progressives, we need to learn how to turn a complex issue into simple talking points. And I am trying to learn myself how to do that so that I can reach others who have succumbed to the simple talking points of the right. Have I been successful? Somewhat. I'm trying to be more successful. I'm trying to learn better how to do it. Because again, everyone falls prey to being able to do everything on this guy for 1 minute. I've started doing some TikToks after learning a few tricks on TikTok on how people present information to let people continue learning. TikTok is a great thing. I'm going to jump on the TikTok subject in a minute. Let me just go through reading some more of your things here. Carl Cox says another American problem is that too many people have the belief that as long as they have what they need, want to bleep with everyone else. Exactly. And that's an important thing, right? We have to learn to be more empathetic and not selfish. In other words, I got mine. Let me tell you what a friend of mine told me, a Latino friend of mine that is actually an undocumented Latino. And this is what he told me. He said, I was talking to him about it, and he said, Egberto, you treat me so well. And he said, you would not imagine. I know people who came over here in an undocumented fashion, worked toward getting themselves documented, and now they look down at me. You have never looked down on me. To which I had a simple answer, right? I said, you made it here, didn't you? Yes. There must be something that allowed you to get through all the tribulations to make it here. Therefore, all I can say to you, sir, is welcome. Why welcome? Because I will not give anybody who was able to make it here somehow. I'm not going to try to say we're going to kick you out. Because when those pilgrims came, when those other folks came to this land, and they didn't just come to work or work a piece of the land for themselves. They came to conquer, they came to take everything off of the land. They made treaties, they went against their treaties. They had treaties with indigenous people. When they found gold on indigenous land, they took away, they ignored the treaties. When they found oil on their land, they ignored the treaties. When they wanted a pipeline to go through their lands, they ignored the treaties. So I don't want anybody telling me about legalities and people being legal or illegal and whatever, when as a society we had not even kept up with the contracts we signed with the peoples whose land we stole. We did not even keep up with those contracts. And we want to be super exact, and we want to be super stringent with those who come over. I'm saying, yeah, we don't need to keep borders open. We don't need to do that. But if somebody is able to get around and come and be a productive person in this country, I'll be damned if I'm going to fight and try to pass laws to get them out. If you notice what's happening with DeSantis in Florida right now that DeSantis has kicked a lot of hole, or with his macho man on immigration now, people who thought they were going to be in their homes in the summer, they may have to wait till next year because all the workers have walked off and they've head to other states. That makes it more amenable for them to be there. Sometimes, you should be careful with what you wish for. BI officials conducted a raid at Trump Towers 3 in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida last Thursday, searching a condominium owned by an LLC of two Russian businessmen. At the time, officials in the FBI Miami office gave no explanation other than it was a court-ordered law enforcement activity in the area. Now the Miami Herald is revealing the reason for the raid. Oleg Sergeyevich Patsulia was arrested that day by federal agents in Phoenix, Arizona, along with his business partner, Vasily Sergeyevich Basindad, and charged with conspiring to violate the U.S. Export Control Act and to commit international money laundering, reported by Jay Weaver. The Russians, both from Sunny Isles Beach area, had traveled to Arizona in September last year and attempted to purchase aircraft brake systems from a supply company there and sell them to Russian airline companies. A criminal complaint alleges that Petsula and Besdin used their Florida company MICP&I and worked with others to evade U.S. experts, laws, and regulations to send aircraft parts to Russia airline companies over the past year. The complaint, written by Commerce Department Special Agent and filed in Phoenix, federal court, alleges that Patsula and Besendin filed requests for parts directly from Russian airlines at the time were facing increased sanctions. Let's see. So Egberto is saying that race integration would change nothing. Seriously? I never said that. You better rewind the tape. That's not what I said. I said for a long time, that's one of the reasons that integrations, a lot of people believe that we must have integration. Okay, I didn't say that it didn't work. I mean, there are times when integration works. There are times it doesn't work. When I say doesn't work, what I mean is that you go into a particular community and that community is so hostile to those that are moving in that, the people just decide that they can't hang. All right, let's continue. Eric says, Egberto, Montrose is not north, it is central Houston. I understand. I was using Montrose as a part of town that gets services, that's all. Lee Grant says, I hear that some trans men can have abortions. I don't think that's the case unless they implanted a womb. I don't think they're doing that quite yet, sir. Bree says, I do not see race. I see people pass that to the pampas. Eric says, Egberto, you can't force people to think the same as you fundamentally. That isn't right. Each has to come to terms with their own conclusion, however, etc. I agree with that, Eric. But we also have to be honest that a lot of the thoughts that people have comes from what they have been taught, many of times from evil people, Fox News, etc., from evil people. And that influences their minds. My expectation is that I will as well be able to influence the minds of some. All right, let's see. Carcox says, I believe, as FDR said, in the common good, the freedom from fear and want. Daniel says, are thoughts really free if they cannot be spoken? No, that's why I hate the idea that people are banning books. You're absolutely right, Daniel Ledo. You are absolutely right. Eric K says, Bridge MCP, what are you saying? No one could without being armed, right? I don't get that. But anyway, let's get busy with something else here. Here is the deal. This is important. TikTok. Let me just tell you guys straight up. I love TikTok. And I can understand why many conservatives right now hate TikTok, and they're putting the fear of many soft Democrats into wanting to cancel TikTok, to take TikTok off if possible. Look, there's nothing wrong with TikTok. And anybody who wants you to believe that the reason we want to get TikTok is the Chinese companies are going to be able to monitor what TikTok is doing, etc., etc., etc. They are actually thinking, or they're calling you stupid. And what really it is that most of us are ignorant to how the internet actually works. It's important that we understand. There's nothing that TikTok can give China that China can't already buy from capitalist companies who already sell that information. Everything about you placed in the cloud is already known to TikTok. TikTok is an application that runs on this phone. All the information that TikTok gets was provided to it by this phone, who is connected to Google. In other words, TikTok can get nothing that Google already has. It's so important for you to understand that. So for you to, and by the way, and Google and all the affiliates of Google already have that information for sale. So to pick on TikTok, remember, the geo information comes from Google. All the data paths go through Google and your internet provider. All that information is already owned, or it's already passing through a third party. There's nothing in here that TikTok can provide to China that they cannot already buy from capitalist countries. Okay? You have a great day, Michael Rudnan. I hope you feel better as well, sir. Please drop me a line and let me know how you're doing, sir. But anyway, so this is important, important for you to know. TikTok, Instagram, FaceTime. What's the yellow one? Let's see. I use that one too. All of them, they all basically use the same technology. Holding back TikTok will do absolutely nothing to stop China from getting information about Americans. And by the way, China, whatever it is that China uses out there, we also have that information if we want that information. So please don't succumb to wanting to get rid of TikTok. Now, let me tell you why they really want to get rid of TikTok. TikTok is a very well put together platform. Compared to Instagram and all the rest, it leads you into, if you want to learn history, there are a lot of people that use this platform as a teaching mechanism. And especially now that we have Republican states banning books, you learn and banning things like not learning about race, etc. It's amazing how much you can learn on TikTok and corroborate what you've learned on TikTok with other sources to make sure you're not being snowed. There is so much to learn. There's so many history teachers on there. There's so many people just doing good things on TikTok. You know, it's China monitoring it. I really don't care because I know all these platforms are all monitoring us. You use these platforms with the understanding that that's the case. And when you don't want to be monitored, turn the damn thing off. Not turn it to silent, turn it off. Bridge MCP, thank you so kindly for that super chat for my birthday. Thank you so kindly for that super chat for my birthday. All right, Danielle says, the yellow one, did you just say that, oh my God, Egberto, the proper term is Oriental, not... What? I never said the yellow one? No, I never said that. And by the way, the proper term is not Oriental, sir. It's Asian. Thank you. Anyway, continuing with the discussion. So folks, when it comes to TikTok, please don't be snowed. what Montana is it? What that whatever state it was that banned TikTok. Worst thing they've ever done. Worst thing that they've ever done. All right, let's see what else we got here. The other subject I wanted to cover was Medicare for all. The two studies that prove that it's the best thing since apple pie. But I won't be able to talk about the TikTok thing right now because I don't have enough time to talk about Medicare, but suffice it to say that we should all understand that Medicare, okay, Medicare for all is actually much cheaper than the evil medical system that we have right now, but more. Everybody gets insured, but more. It also means you have choices. They lie to you today when they tell you, oh, you have the choice of this private insurance, or this private insurance. You have choices. But this private insurance tells you you can use these doctors. This other private insurance says you can use those doctors. And this other private insurance says you can use the other doctors. In other words, they're telling you, please pick your master. Please pick who you want to be your master, slave. Now, if you had Medicare for all, you choose your doctors. You and your doctors choose the medicines that you are going to use. And your doctor's office runs a lot more efficient because they no longer need a whole lot of nurses to do a whole lot of other work to find out if you're covered with this insurance or that insurance or the other, and many, many other things. So, folks, it's important for us to start teaching the story. We may want to change the name from Medicare for All because from one of the things that I've heard. But again, Medicare for All a lot more expensive. Every case says, Gilberto, I get choices and now I am using them. What is wrong? You didn't get choices. You got a choice to which master to use. If you had Medicare for All, you could choose which doctors you want to see. See, let me give you an example. I was about to choke. If Plan A has doctor that you want for, let's say, for your liver, but Plan B has the doctor you want for your kidney, but those doctors don't overlap in plans, you will have to choose which one is more important to you. Okay? You'll have to pick which one is important to you. And in that case, what can I say? Cost me $200 per month and I can go to any doctor. You are wrong. I'm not wrong at all. You can, and by the way, you may have a plan by a good plan by a company. Most Americans don't have that. The other thing that you may have is if you take a look at the medicine scenario that you have, you don't have the choices of everything. But whatever the case is, even if you as an individual, Mr. Hayes, pay $200 a month for anything, and by the way, we are paying about $1,000 a month. All right? You are being subsidized right now. Your health care is being subsidized at $200 a month. And all of us who pays more are subsidizing you. Remember that. Because in the aggregate, that's not the cost of healthcare. And that is the evilness within the system that we have. The cost of healthcare is based on your luck of having a company that does it, you working for somebody else and not being independent, and much more. That is a statement of fact. All right, folks, I got to get out of here, but I need to do my ask. So I want to ask you to please support the program. If you want to put an extra support saying, hey, today is Egberto's birthday, I'm going to shamelessly plug it as my birthday. If you want to give support even more because it's my birthday and you want to say, hey, I want to be nicer to support politics done right on this guy's birthday who comes out here and work even on his birthday to do things, I would be much more happy. I want to thank my dear Bridge MCP for that contribution today so that I can have a little good dinner with the family. Thank you very much, Bridge MCP. Folks can provide support via PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal to provide support to the program. You can also support us via politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is how it's spelled. You can also support us via YouTube by going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube or just clicking the join button on YouTube. You can shop at our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, or you can buy our books. And I tell you, I'm going to put those books on the screen. There's a lot to learn from those books. I did a lot of research on these books and also life experience. politicsdoneright.com/books. I have got to get out of here, but I've got to tell you that the person who won was Eric Hayes, and I think he knew he won because he probably knew. He probably did all kind of stuff. I know how old you are, you piece of you know what. So we'll have to meet at Starbucks so I can give you your T-shirt, sir. He won. All right. All right, let's see what else we got here before I go. Please support the show. Please, from the gym. From the gym. Okay, we used to work out. Well, I worked out by myself. Eric had a guy that he worked out with all of the times, and I would watch them, tease them, and we'll have these debates, etc., at the gym. But anyhow, folks, thank you so kindly for your support. Support the program however you can. The all-encompassing form to support the program is at politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. Egberto, Willie's Snapchat is the yellow one, but it's not Oriental. Oh, he was talking about when I was talking about Snapchat. If you take a look at Snapchat, the Snapchat icon is yellow, and I was talking about these programs, and I said the yellow one is meaning Snapchat. Oh my God. You see how things come out? You see how people can misrepresent? Anyway, folks, thank you so kindly for being here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.